Welcome to Sci-Tech Exploration. During World War I, the Germans experimented with the use of cellon, or cellulose acetate, a transparent covering material, in an attempt to reduce the visibility of military aircraft. Single examples of the Fokker-Eindecker E-3 fighter monoplane, the Albatros C-1 two-seat observation biplane, and the Link Hoffman R-1 prototype heavy bomber were covered with cellon. However, it proved ineffective and even counterproductive, as sunlight glinting from the covering made the aircraft even more visible. The material was also found to be quickly degraded, both by sunlight and in-flight temperature changes, so they never proceeded with the attempt to make transparent aircraft again. In 1916, the British modified a small SS-class airship for the purpose of nighttime aerial reconnaissance over German lines on the Western Front. Fitted with a silenced engine and a black gas bag, the craft was both invisible and inaudible from the ground. But several nighttime flights over German-held territory produced little useful intelligence, and the idea was dropped at war, 1914 to 1918. Nearly 3 decades later, the Horten-Ho 229 flying wing fighter bomber was developed in Nazi Germany during the last years of World War II. In 1983, its designer, Reimar Horten, claimed that he planned to add charcoal to the adhesive layers of the plywood skin of the production model to render it invisible to radar. This claim was investigated, as the Ho 229's lack of vertical surfaces, an inherent feature of all flying wing aircraft, is also a key characteristic of all stealth aircraft. Tests were performed in 2008 by Northrop Grumman Corporation to establish if the aircraft's shape would have avoided detection by top-end HF band 20 to 30 MHz primary signals of Britain's chain home early warning radar. If the aircraft was traveling at high speed, approximately 550 miles per hour or 890 kilometers an hour, at extremely low altitude, 50 to 100 feet or 15 to 30 meters. The testing did not find any evidence that charcoal was used, and confirmed that it would have been a poor absorber if used, concluding that the Ho 229 did not have stealth characteristics and was never intended to be a stealth aircraft. Modern stealth aircraft first became possible when Dennis Overholser, a mathematician working for Lockheed Aircraft during the 1970s, adopted a mathematical model developed by Peter Yefimtsev, a Soviet scientist, to develop a computer program called Echo 1. Echo made it possible to predict the radar signature of an aircraft made with flat panels, called facets. In 1975, engineers at Lockheed Skunk Works found that an aircraft made with faceted surfaces could have a very low radar signature because the surfaces would radiate almost all of the radar energy away from the receiver. Lockheed built a proof-of-concept demonstrator aircraft, the Lockheed Have Blue, nicknamed the Hopeless Diamond, a reference to the famous Hope Diamond and the design's shape and predicted instability. Because advanced computers were available to control the flight of an aircraft that was designed for stealth, but aerodynamically unstable, such as the Hive Blue, for the first time designers realized that it might be possible to make an aircraft that was virtually invisible to radar. Reduced radar costs section is only one of 5 factors the designers addressed to create a truly stealthy design such as the F-22. The F-22 has also been designed to disguise its infrared emissions to make it harder to detect by infrared homing or heat-seeking surface-to-air or air-to-air missiles. Designers also addressed making the aircraft less visible to the naked eye, controlling radio transmissions and noise abatement. Stealth aircraft are designed to avoid detection using a variety of technologies that reduce reflection and emission of radar, infrared, visible light, radio frequency or RF spectrum, and audio, all collectively known as stealth technology. The F-117 Nighthawk was the first operational aircraft explicitly designed around stealth technology. Other examples of stealth aircraft include the B-2 Spirit, the B-21 Raider, the F-22 Raptor, the F-35 Lightning II, the Chengdu J-20, and the Sukhoi Su-57. While no aircraft is completely invisible to radar, stealth aircraft make it more difficult for conventional radar to detect or track the aircraft effectively, increasing the odds of an aircraft avoiding detection by enemy radar or avoiding being successfully targeted by radar-guided weapons. Stealth is a combination of passive low observable features and active emitters such as low probability of intercept radars, radios, and laser designators. These are typically combined with operational measures such as carefully planning mission maneuvers to minimize the aircraft's radar cross-section, since common hard turns or open bomb bay doors can more than double an otherwise stealthy aircraft's radar return. Stealth is accomplished by using a complex design philosophy to reduce the ability of an opponent's sensors to detect, track, or attack the stealth aircraft. The philosophy takes into account the heat, sound, and other emissions of the aircraft, which can also be used to locate it. Sensors are made to reduce the impact of low observable technologies, and others have been proposed such as the IRST, infrared search and track systems, to detect even reduced heat emissions, long wavelength radars to counter stealth shaping, and RAM focused on shorter wavelength radar, or radar setups with multiple emitters to counter stealth shaping. However, these have disadvantages compared to traditional radar against non-stealthy aircraft. The first combat use of purpose-designed stealth aircraft was in December 1989 during Operation Just Cause in Panama. On December 20, 1989, two United States Air Force F-117s bombed a Panamanian Defense Force barracks in Rio Hato, Panama. In 1991, F-117s were tasked with attacking the most heavily fortified targets in Iraq in the opening phase of Operation Desert Storm, and were the only jets allowed to operate inside Baghdad's city limits. The US, UK, and Israel are the only countries to have used stealth aircraft in combat. These deployments include the United States invasion of Panama, the First Gulf War, the Kosovo conflict, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, and the 2011 military intervention in Libya. The first use of stealth aircraft was in the U.S. invasion of Panama, where the F-117 Nighthawk stealth attack aircraft were used to drop bombs on enemy airfields and positions while evading enemy radar. In 1990, the F-117 Nighthawk was used in the First Gulf War, where F-117s flew 1,300 sorties and scored direct hits on 1,600 high-value targets in Iraq while accumulating 6,905 flight hours. Since, the stealth aircrafts were much different than the usual aircraft, thus the design principles are quite different, and we must know how it is designed and the limitations it is bear for its unique design principles. There is various instability of design in these aircrafts. Early stealth aircraft were designed with a focus on minimal radar cross-section, or RCS, rather than aerodynamic performance. Highly stealthy aircraft like the 117 Nighthawk are aerodynamically unstable in all three axes and require constant flight corrections from a fly-by-wire or FBW flight system to maintain controlled flight. As for the B-2 Spirit, this was based on the development of the flying wing aircraft by Jack Northrop in 1940. This design allowed for a stable aircraft with sufficient yaw control even without vertical surfaces such as rudders. As we already mentioned, that there were many limitations as well. Let's discuss a few of them. Aerodynamic limitations. Earlier stealth aircraft such as the F-117 and B-2 lack afterburners because the hot exhaust would increase their infrared footprint, and flying faster than the speed of sound would produce an obvious sonic boom, as well as surface heating of the aircraft's skin, which also increases the infrared footprint. As a result, their performance in air combat maneuvering required in a dogfight would never match that of a dedicated fighter aircraft. Sensitive skin. Stealth aircraft often have skins made with radiation-absorbent materials, or RAMs. Some of these contain carbon black particles, while some contain tiny iron spheres. There are many materials used in RAMs, and some are classified, particularly the materials that specific aircraft use. Cost of operations. Stealth aircraft are typically more expensive to develop and manufacture. An example is the B-2 Spirit that is many times more expensive to manufacture and support than conventional bomber aircraft. The B-2 program cost the United States Air Force almost $45 billion. Infrared, or heat. Some analysts claim infrared search and track systems, or IRSTs, can be deployed against stealth aircraft. Because any aircraft surface heats up due to air friction, and with a 2-channel IRST is a CO2 of 4.3 absorption maxima, detection possible, through difference comparing between the low and high channel. These analysts point to the resurgence of such systems in Russian designs in the 1980s, such as those fitted to the MiG-29 and the Su-27. The latest version of the MiG-29, the MiG-35, is equipped with a new optical locator system that includes more advanced IRST capabilities. The French Rafale, the British, German, Italian, Spanish Eurofighter, and the Swedish Gripen also make extensive use of the IRST. These are some basic limitations of the stealth aircraft. We can say that these aircrafts are developing every now and then, and hopefully one day the limitations will be omitted. This is the brief and basic operation, history, and functioning of stealth aircraft. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope that you found this video useful. Please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for more updates.